Hi there, Sam Edgerton here. The drink we're going to be talking about today is really focusing around a couple of different elements which were taken from the garden, and then also to another little piece which speaks to some of the kind of the core ethos of what brought Charlie Parker's together when the venue started, and some of the processes we try and apply across the entire business. So first to the garden, a couple of different elements. This here is a type of thyme. It's a creeping thyme, which refers just to the way that it grows, and the specific type of thyme is called Pink Button Thyme. So obviously, as we are currently sitting in autumn and moving into the winter months, all of those flowers are unfortunately gone, but in the sort of spring and summer months, you have this covered in these beautiful little pink, aromatic flowers. And this is going to be used in collaboration with this honey here. So this honey specifically comes from Huntleys Cove. The beekeeper that helped us with the beehive upstairs, a wonderful man named Harry, also has his own beehives, and he brought a couple of different examples of honey from his hives in Huntleys Cove. This honey specifically comes from the peak of summer. We also have some examples which we'll show in other episodes which come from earlier spring and then later in summer. And the difference in colour, flavour and aroma really does change as the bees are picking up pollen from different types of flowers at different parts of the season. This one specifically has some really wonderful sort of lavender and kind of some woody notes. And this has been diluted with equal parts water, so 1 part water to 1 part honey, and then we've just steeped it overnight with the Pink Button Thyme to really kind of lean into that sort of savoury note that we already have existing in the honey. And then the final piece that we're using is a garnish. This here is a guest in our garden. It's something that we actually found nestled among the thyme. We've got a couple of different types of thyme upstairs, and initially thought that this was one of the families of Creeping Thyme, but after a bit of discovery, this is actually called Harefoot Clover. So like a wild plant in itself, but what this does for the garden is this helps to nitrogenate the soil, so it makes the soil really nice and healthy, which is exactly what we need for our garden upstairs. So we'll come back to that in a little bit. The main product that we're using for the drink today is going to be ROKU, beautiful Japanese gin. Some of the kind of savoury notes that you get through, as well as the yuzu and the citrus, is really going to pop with some of the other ingredients. And then the last piece is this slightly nondescript bottle. So when we opened Charlie Parker's, one of the things that we became initially quite well known for was the concept and the discussion that was and is sustainability. We initially created menus that really looked at how we could minimise our output, or our waste impact, and that came through things such as end-to-end use of citrus, which is now developed into compost, which we use for the garden. Minimising our inputs, such as trying to use the garden as much as possible rather than purchasing things from people that has its own carbon footprint attached to it. And the idea of sustainability in drinks is something that now we apply to all of our bars where possible, really trying to find opportunities to minimise impact, and also when there is opportunity, turn waste into an opportunity. And this is a really good example of that. This is, in its simplest term, a hard lemonade, so a fermented lemon-based beverage, but the components of this is spent citrus or lemon juice that would normally not be fit to be using in sort of fresh cocktails, the spent husks, and then also from making some honey and ginger syrup, the spent cut ginger that's been soaked in honey. So in essence, this here comprises of the lemon juice, husk, ginger, cut ginger, and there's a bit of residual honey, which has been blended down with a larger portion of water and then fermented with a saison yeast. Saison yeast comes from is famous from the farmhouse style of ales, and really helps to accentuate not only the spice that you get from the ginger, but adds some kind of lovely kind of funky kind of flavors to the overall product. So we might start with ROKU today. So we're going to be using 45 mils. The next we're going to be using our hard lemonade here. As I said, really simplistic to make. Putting a big, this is for a 5 litre batch, 2 litres of lemon juice, probably half a kilo of the spent husks, half a kilo of the ginger, which has been soaked in honey, and the remaining 2 litres in water. It's brought to a rolling boil, taken off, you bring it down to temperature to around sort of 23 degrees. Saison yeast is added to the whole batch. It's then fermented at room temperature for a week and then bottled. This has been sitting bottling now for about 3 weeks. It'll continue to age and develop the longer you leave it. So I'm going to be adding 60 mils of this. And then just to balance out the overall product here, we're going to add 10 mils of our Pink Button Thyme, which has been infused in our Huntleys Cove honey. And then we're going to top this with some soda water. And then to finish, as we mentioned, just our wonderful little Hares foot Clover. Cool. Thanks for watching the Garden to Glass series. My name's Sam. See you soon.